until 8:30 p.m. or rather 8:25. And what do we do in the political spotlight? We talk about issues that took the center stage in the course of the week, specifically political issues that generated that conversation across several quarters, that created that brickbat. And then, of course, we get to hear from you, our dear listeners, and some of you that will be viewing us on YouTube, what you think concerning the conversation that we're having here. We also have analysts who will also give us a perspective, a breakdown, an intellectual breakdown of most of these political trending stories, and then we get ourselves intellectually edified on some of these issues. So currently at the moment you're listening to Voice of the People 90.3 FM, and we stream live on YouTube. So go on YouTube, definitely you'll see us streaming live at the moment, so you can actually be virtually part of the conversation anywhere in the world that you are. The WhatsApp number will definitely be written on the screen if you're watching us on YouTube, so you can begin to send in your messages as to contribute to the conversation that we'll be having. Also, you can follow me on YouTube at Estiq Media, that is ESTIQMEDIA, Estiq Media on YouTube, and of course there are all the political conversations right on there. So let's continue. Let's kick off at the moment. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has acknowledged the severe impact of the economic crisis in Nigeria on the citizens of the country. He, however, assured that his government is not folding its hands on the matter, but practical steps are being taken to make life better for the citizens. And this was via an interview with the Nation newspaper today, where he addressed issues on the economic situation of the country and other concerns. You do know that the Nation is owned by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, right? So President Tinubu urged Nigerians not to exploit the situation for abnormal profit. He spoke against the backdrop of the current cost of living crisis in the country, rising food prices, high petrol price, and naira devaluation. So I'm going to read out to you how the president disclosed, or how he expressed, his heartfelt feelings towards Nigerians. He says, "As your president, I am deeply aware of the economic crisis' severe impact on Nigerians, and we are part of a global challenge with the rising cost of living. To help our people, my administration is taking proactive steps. Moreover, we urge all Nigerians to be mindful of the current economic situation and avoid exploiting it for abnormal profits." The president added that the conditional cash transfer of 25,000 naira to 15 million households for 3 months, which was launched in 2015, is one of the efforts by his administration to relieve Nigerians following the fuel subsidy removal policy. So he disagreed with some positions that the cash transfer policy is not effective. He says he is steadfast in his belief on the efficacy of the cash transfer initiative. The initiatives are a crucial part of his strategy to target and provide relief to the most vulnerable segments of the population, especially during the last 3 months of the year when the prices of basic items typically rise. I wonder who are the most vulnerable, because I am vulnerable, all right? You can categorize me as the very most vulnerable, so I would appreciate if I'm able to get this efficacy cash transfer. I want to be part of the cash transfer initiative. I think a lot of us want to be in that particular model for the cash transfer initiative, because the way the economy is now, it is not segregating. It's not showing that you're average, you're mid, or you're rich, or everyone seems to be in the same category, aside from few elitists. Okay, so he continued by saying this is not just about providing temporary support, it's about strategically delivering assistance when it's most needed. We continue to work closely with all key stakeholders, including state governments, civil society groups, international partners, and private sector entities like telcos and fintechs to refine these programs. Now, when the president made this statement on the Nation newspaper, Nigerians actually had a lot to say. They started off by saying concerning the current expenditure of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu since he came into office. The first trip that he went to UAE, Dubai, the amount of money that was allocated to him for that particular trip, as well as all the expenses that included. Then he traveled to Germany. Then of course he went for the COP28 summit, where about almost 1,000 and something people, almost 1,000 and something people accompanied the president. What am I even saying? Almost, it's about 1,114 persons accompanying the president, and about 500 or so were official Others, according to the presidency, were either they sponsored themselves or they were sponsored by international agencies, especially agencies that are into fund relief. Well, that is basically what the presidency, described how those other individuals unofficially, how they were financed or how they were supported. And it brought a lot of reactions. How will the president keep spending like this? You have an over-bloated expenditure. You also have a budget that is that huge. You don't even know how you intend to finance the budget. And then when you look at the breakdown of the budget and some of the sectors that, money is allocated to, there is no cut in the cost of governance. So you're asking Nigerians once again to be patient, to be understanding. You're telling them to be careful, and that you're putting in measures to alleviate the current economic hardship. What measures we need to? Nigerians want to see it. Nigerians want to begin to see these active measures you say that you're already curating, that you and your economic team are already putting in place. Now, there was a recent naira scarcity, and the CBN governor blamed Emefiele, who is in DSS custody, for the naira scarcity. And Nigerians were like, okay, Emefiele is no longer on that seat. You are now the new governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. He has no powers anymore. So again, how does Emefiele come in? Also, the president had complained that he came and met an empty bursary, meaning that there is no money. When he came, he did not see any money. But you've been traveling, your fleet is well financed, your travels properly financed, and so Nigerians are questioning the authenticity in most of the statements made by this administration. All the time, they don't trust it anymore because of how things have become. And it's supposed to be the Yuletide season, but we're not seeing the streets in any mood of celebration. No one is even feeling that tang. People are managing themselves. So Nigerians are complaining vehemently as to the actuality of what the president just said. Also, the president has we do know that this is 2027 is the next political, what would I call it, the next dispensation when Nigerians will cast their votes and let people know whom their desired presidential candidates will be. And also, we're not surprised to see that the APC, that's the All Progressives Congress, has already kicked off its own strategy machination to do what needs to be done. And already they have talked about creating a blueprint whereby the Southeast will be the focal point, meaning that all the 5 Southeastern states, the APC intends to grab it anyhow, or whichever method they want to have a hold on it. They are starting off with basically Anambra 2025, rather, yes. And then of course you also have the APC already has Imo State, so you have Enugu now, which is under PDP, Anambra up next, and already we have Abia State with Alex Oti. But the other states that have upcoming elections, well, the president is saying that they intend to ensure that the All Progressives Congress has a grip on those particular southeastern states, and the president has approved a blueprint or the political strategy to ensure that they have a hold on those southeastern states. Meanwhile, the Northern All Progressives Congress candidates are not there, unsettled with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policies. They feel segregated, they feel not included, and they're already complaining. All right, let's start off with the fact that the marriage between the ruling All Progressives Congress and the North seems to be getting over, as the Northerners are disagreeing with the styles and policies of governance of the party. A former national vice chairman of the All Progressives Congress Northwest and a leading political voice from the North, Salihu Lukman, recently warned that the party might lose the general election in 2027 should the situation continue the way it is. Lukman was assessing the performance of the party. He says, "I think we must be honest, and this is the point I make to our leaders. Without any inhibition. At the moment, our democracy is not responsive enough. As a party of vision to be progressive, it is certainly not yet progressive. I think I am worried that our leaders have become very comfortable to imagine that they can do anything and get away with it. We must appeal to our leaders that things are almost getting out of hand at the rate at which we are going under a party that is envisioned to be progressive. And according to them, it has not in any way benefited the North, which is highly dominated by Muslims. Also, Professor Usman Yusuf, a member of Northern Elders Forum, recently called out President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, stating that he is only interested in Nigerians' money and not to provide security. He made this statement via a television program, and he categorically said, "Our president and commander-in-chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu, from his words, deeds and body language, is not interested in security. All he's interested in is the economy where the money is, and he's planted his people. Security, banditry and others appear irritants to him. We don't see the president hands-on with our security. Our military is not supervised by civilian authority. They have gone rogue, dropping bombs on our people, and they're not answerable to anybody. In the United States, where we copy the presidential system, the military is subordinate to civilian authority. The appointment of the president, especially that of the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, is one that has pitched the North against the presidency and the APC government. For some Northerners and the clerics, the FCT ministry is right of the North, and for APC government to appoint a Southerner to that seat is taking away the trust of the North from the government. Professor Shehu Madi is in the forefront of the Northerners expressing concerns over the appointments of the APC government. I don't know how you would react to this, because it is something that you may want to consider. The president has always, I think, been expressive with his intentions. I recall during his campaign, he said he was going to run an all-inclusive government. All-inclusive government being the fact that everyone, regardless of their political leanings, regardless of their ethnic leanings, he was going to ensure that he has all of them in check. But apparently, a lot of ethnic groups and a lot of also political elites with their different political ideologies seem discomfited with the pace or the mannerism or the body language of the president, which they feel he has isolated them. And I'm sure some of the Northern APC, these are some of them who are already complaining about that. And of course, we do know one other person too, whom we're hearing, he has been quite explicit, and that is former INEC chair Tahiru Jega, and it was quite surprising, some of the words that he says. He says, restructure Nigeria before 2027. That the current system is failing. I wasn't expecting Ejega to actually make that statement. He says, before 2027, some restructuring of the Nigerian Federation should be embarked upon through evidence-based constitutional reforms, the objectives of which should be to deconcentrate powers and resources from the federal tier, all right, to spread them to those of the state and local governments. Also, he reiterated that he's urging Nigerians to learn from the past best practices, whereby model federations such as India, Canada, and the USA, the areas of revenue generation and sharing, are adapted to our local context and circumstances. So he says it is important for restructuring to be in play. I recall during the confab, former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, where he called a couple of intellectuals, civil servants, those who had really made their impact, serving the nation. And a report was written, the Orosanye report was written, whereby the restructuring and all the processes that could follow, whereby a lot of ethnic leanings and ethnic groups or religious groups, there was a process through which the restructuring would take place. And we were expecting that when former President Muhammadu Buhari comes on board, he would enact or replicate what that particular confab report stated. That did not happen. And of course, they say government is continuing. A couple of analysts will say that the president is towing the line of his predecessor, even if he complained that his predecessor didn't do some things right. Now, the big story which occurred, would I say, on Friday was when the Supreme Court gave their ruling, and it was quite surprising, the ruling that the Supreme Court gave concerning Nnamdi Kanu. I, for one, wanted to understand why the Supreme Court gave that kind of ruling. And I wondered, because the Supreme Court had the right to say either Nnamdi Kanu be released on bail and appear for his trial, if at all the trial would continue, like they said it would continue, or whatever procedure that was required of him to continue with the case with the federal government. Well, they would grant him bail, right? And then he continues to attend to his trial or court cases from home. And that is the apex court. It could give its final ruling and everyone would obey it, considering the fact that the appeal court, the lower court, did not obey, the federal government did not obey the ruling of the appeal court or the federal high court. before this case proceeded to the Supreme Court. So it was quite surprising when the Supreme Court gave its ruling on Friday, and a couple of Nigerians wondered why the federal government, or rather why did the Supreme Court give that kind of judgment? What transpired? Despite all the pleads, despite all the, affirmations from some quarters, from some strong political elites who were close to the president, why is it the fact that they did not do the needful, whereby they would make those corrections beyond just giving an advice and make the corrections? All right. So they overturned a judgment, and something that a couple of people are wondering, why was that judgment overturned? Okay. They overturned the judgment, and in that judgment, Nigerians were asking, is it because this is Nnamdi Kanu? A lot of people went different ways through which they could assess what transpired, through which they could understand what the Supreme Court was doing or what it meant by the ruling it gave. When it overturned a lower court dismissing terrorism charges against Nnamdi Kanu, they blamed it for the outbreak of violence in the country's southeast region. The court said Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, the separatist group, seeks independence for Nigeria's southeastern region, and that he still faces terrorism charges despite the lower court ruling. Kanu also, we do know, holds a British citizenship and has already pleaded not guilty to the charges. However, Justice Garba Mohammed said that although Nigeria's secret police violated Kanu's rights during his arrest and extradition from Kenya in 2021, the Court of Appeal was wrong to rule in October last year that the violation was grounds for the dismissal of his charges. Now, according to what the court said, no legislation in the country stripped the trial courts of the jurisdiction to go ahead with Kanu's case, despite the illegal action of the secret police. The trial of the separatist leader, who also holds a British citizenship, is expected to resume next year. Kanu has remained in detention since the Court of Appeal's ruling. The Supreme Court decision further complicates the fate of Kanu, who has been in and out of jail since 2015 when he was first arrested and charged with terrorism and treason charges. He has denied any wrongdoing, and his supporters have accused the government of unjustly targeting him to clamp down on the group's separatist campaign. So, however, the Nigerian government said the country's unity is not negotiable and has often accused Kanu's group of instigating violence in the southeast, often by imposing lockdowns and targeting prominent people in the region. Dozens have been killed this year in the violence blamed on IPOB, which of course the group has denied on several occasions. Now, the Supreme Court advised Nnamdi Kanu to, go through what you would call a civil case, go and write a civil summons against the federal government, meaning that the case is going back to the Federal High Court. And then the question is, why didn't you just tell him, okay, go on bail, but this is what you can do to continue your case? This is where the federal government went wrong. You did not address that. You didn't ask the federal government to pay this man funds. They should pay him for all that he went through. And so legal practitioners are also befuddled as to the ruling of the Supreme Court. And I have via the telephone at the moment, someone who is a political and social affairs commentator. He's also a legal practitioner at some point, so he's going to give us his own perspective on what he thinks concerning that Supreme Court ruling, and if the Southeasterners, supporters of Nnamdi Kanu, if they feel justified to feel that this is a deliberate means to retain him in custody, possibly not seeking for that, presidential pardon that they have been asking all this while. And that is Mr. Darlington. Mr. Darlington, welcome to the Political Spotlight on VOP 90.3 FM. How are you?
Yes, Esther. Thanks a lot, and happy Christmas in advance.
All right, we're okay. Happy Christmas in advance too. I wouldn't say that it's a Christmas celebratory season. How are you, Mr. Darlington?
I'm okay. Are you?
I'm fine. I'm good, thank you. Mr. Darlington, let's talk about the Supreme Court ruling on Friday. It got a lot of people talking. Even on Space, a lot of people were commenting. A lot of people did not understand why the Supreme Court couldn't give Nnamdi Kanu bail. Why didn't the Supreme Court give Nnamdi Kanu bail?
Esther, you see this matter with Nnamdi Kanu.
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody wants to foment trouble with that young man's case.
Okay.
The federal government is the southeast.
Mm.
with the continued incarceration of that young man.
All right.
Seriously, because you look at it yourself. All the courts, even outside here, they have told the federal government, release this man. Even the courts have ruled that, look, this is your rendition from Kenya. We don't have any law to prosecute it. That means the federal government has committed a criminal act. That alone is enough to release this man. Yes, they kept him in prison. So they are looking for a way whereby the Southeast will say, look, enough is enough. They now say that they have started Biafra again. If not, this is not just an insult. It is an affront to the entire Southeast, the Igbos. Because if you say Nnamdi Kanu has committed a treasonable felony, please, why have you not charged him to court and start his trial? They tried it and everything was locked up. The court, in fact, locked up all the charges against Nnamdi Kanu. And it was the erudite Chief Mike Ozekone who handled that case, whereby all the charges were locked up. So on what basis now are you defending him? Somebody should tell me, on what basis is Nnamdi Kanu being detained? It's not that they are looking for the trouble of the Igbos. Because every known person in the South is in Igbos. They have come to the federal government, even on that worry. Release this young man. Release this young man. He's not the problem of Nigeria. You know where the problem of Nigeria is coming from. So what is it that this young man has done or said that your terrorists have not done 10 times over?
Mr. Darlington, let me ask you something. You recall that during the campaign and even after he won, a couple of southeastern elites went to visit the president. One of that was for him to push for the Attorney General of the Federation to drop the case against Nnamdi Kanu so that the required or desired peace in the southeast would be experienced. A couple of people feel that even Nnamdi Kanu is released, maybe all those killings and, the unsettlement in the southeast would stop. And a couple of people felt that the president would actually do the needful. But, one of his sayings is he said that the Southeast did not vote for him. When you look at the chart or data of the voting pattern, the Southeast did not show him support. Could it be that it's because of that he's been possibly recalcitrant or nonchalant to want to do anything about it?
If you want to get the votes of the Southeasterners within Nnamdi Kanu, he may not get it with the way they are treating that young man. He will not get that vote.
We will not get which votes. I'm trying to say that in this recent election that was just concluded, the Southeast did not vote for Tinubu. And I said, could this be one of the reasons why, he's possibly reluctant not to go forward? Because if you look at the voting data, the voting pattern, the Southeast was very low in voting for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Please, I want to ask you, why would the Southeasterners vote for Tinubu when Obi is contesting the same election?
I'm just saying, could that be the reason why he's not been nudged, to actually plead or ask the AGM, the Attorney General of the Federation, to drop that case?
Whether it is the reason or not, Nnamdi Kanu's case has nothing to do with the election. It has nothing to do with it. After all, we never voted for Buhari. He said it. Remember the famous 97% and 5%? At the end of the day, those who voted 97 and those who voted 5%, all of them suffered under Buhari. So we were vindicated. We said we don't know this Buhari and what is coming with, so we cannot vote for him. And we did not. So how will anybody now victimize people for that? Tell me how. Even this Tinubu again, we told everybody, when we saw his record and his antecedent, we said, no, this is not the person we want. So what is wrong with that? Have we not been vindicated? That means these people don't even understand the Igbo man. They don't. We don't find that the sentiment when it comes to national issues. Even if it is our own son and we know that he cannot deliver, we vote against him. That is the Igbo man for you. It's not about getting votes. Getting votes for who? If it is getting votes for the right person, you will see the Igbo man, they will come out in full. They will come out and vote that person, they know that will deliver the goods. So we don't vote on sentiment. From the beginning of this country for Nigeria, we have never voted on sentiment. That is what mistake other tribes are making concerning the Igbo man. We don't vote on sentiment at all. So it's not about whether we voted for APC or not. No. After what APC did to Nigeria in 8 years, how can any reasonable person vote for them again? Enter how? That is where the Igbo man comes in. We have analyzed Buhari's 8 years, and this man said that he was coming to consolidate of Buhari's legacy. We now said no, we cannot suffer again, and we voted accordingly. So why would anybody victimize Igbos for that? Why? I'm using the name of the Kanu. It's unnecessary.
Mr. Darlington,
have we not been vindicated? That's the question.
A senior advocate
of Nigerians that have been voting APC, are they enjoying it today?
Mr. Darlington, in a recent television interview, a senior advocate of Nigeria, his name is Paul Ananaba, he gave his own perspective on the legal aspect surrounding the case of Nnamdi Kanu. He says, in his words, asking a person who has been in detention for quite some time and whose detention has been causing some discomfort to go back to a civil suit whilst in detention is concerning to him. He says, I believe that the Supreme Court has all the powers to take any decision in the best interest of the country. But my expectations was that, having found that the way the arrest was done wasn't approved by the Supreme Court, having found that the invasion of Nnamdi Kanu's residence wasn't acceptable, I had expected that yes, Kanu should start his trial, but the court also has the powers to grant him bail on certain conditions. So, why did the court not grant Nnamdi Kanu bail? Because you reprimanded the federal government, you reprimanded the DSS for how he was extradited and brought into the country. You did not give any punitive measures. You did not ask the federal government to pay any fine towards this man. And then you could have actually said, okay, since he's been asking for bail, tell him that we will give you bail under certain conditions. The Supreme Court has the power to do that. So, who is interfering in the judgment of this case? How come the Supreme Court can no longer be trusted? A lot of Nigerians no longer trust the legal system. What is the framework for this judgment? I'm saying so because this is what a senior advocate is saying. He's a lawyer, he's a senior lawyer. And he's asking, if the Supreme Court cannot make judgment that would be in the best interest of everyone to show morality plus technicality, but you lean more towards technicality rather than morality, then what is going on? Sunday Igboho has been released and they have the same case. So can you help explain to me what the Supreme Court's profile is and precisely why we've been having such rulings that a lot of Nigerians cannot actually comprehend?
It is the same reason the Supreme Court could not look at all the criminal record that was brought from US against Tinubu. It is the same reason why the Supreme Court threw away all the 7 issues that was brought before them against Tinubu. It is the same reason this same Supreme Court have refused to give the needful concerning our elections. So, if this same Supreme Court are in bed with the APC-led government, that means whatever they are doing now will be dictated by the APC leadership. That is the truth. With what I've told you now, are you not seeing it that the Supreme Court is now in bed with the APC government? That is why, if you check all the rulings so far, it was always in favor of APC, especially where they have interest. All the states that APC have interest, look at the ruling that has come up there. So the Supreme Court is pandering to the sentiment of somebody. Somebody is delegating the Supreme Court of Nigeria today. They are passing to the tune of somebody. There is an orchestrated plan by some interest group to keep Nnamdi Kanu in detention. That is a fact. And they have communicated this to the Supreme Court. If not, they cannot justify what they said on last Friday. They cannot. There is no legal explanation to what happened last Friday. Nothing. I am telling you nothing. I'm sure in the privacy of their bedroom, their conscience will be beating them. Their conscience will be freaking them. Because they know that they have turned the law upside down. No single justification. Nothing.
Hello, Mr. Darlington, are you there?
Yes, I believe whatever they did, history will judge them. Society will judge them.
All right.
I know that in years to come, somebody will come and tell us why they did some of this ruling. Somebody will come and tell us how they were under pressure, how somebody was doing this and that. After all, the second in command to the CBN who resigned recently, you have what he said. You have what he said about his own Supreme Court. So, is anybody in that as to what is going on there? And you heard what Lisa Makoba said, that it is not a mafia thing.
Exactly.
That is a mafia in the judiciary who will now stand against justice. So, what are you now telling me? With all these opinions, you have no doubt in your mind now that the Supreme Court has gone into another thing. Seriously.
Mr. Darlington, the summary of Justice Haruna Samani's judgment on the 6th of September 2023, according to some political critics, they say, since Tinubu can enter the U.S., he has committed no offense or crime in the U.S. Haruna Samani, if you commit a crime, it will no longer count against you after 10 years. That's basically what they're summarizing from what Haruna Samani had said. The $460,000 forfeiture being a proceed of narcotics is to Tinubu's account and not to his person, Haruna Samani, in terms of explaining most of these international crimes that were claimed to have been committed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And Nigerians are wondering exactly what is going on with the morality of our judicial system. Senior advocates of Nigerians are really not happy at all with what is actually going on, especially those who want to remain objective. Let's look at former intelligence analyst for the Department of State Services and America's Federal Bureau of Investigation. His name is Osemeka Jim Oscar. And he has urged President Bola Tinubu to urgently select individuals with proven capacity in the security sector to help the country overcome security challenges ravaging the land. It came from now offered advice while fielding questions. According to what he says that it was important for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to, at the moment, choose individuals in the security sector to provide the necessary security in the country and stop Nigerians from being pillaged like a piece of meat. He says that it was important for this to be done as soon as possible because literally Nigeria seem like they do not have a strong security architecture. According to the security expert, he said the insecurity bedeviling the nation can be handled with strategic leadership and proactive measures, warning that the citizens must not be driven to a point where they take to criminality to survive. He also said that the president and his cabinet must look at how to select people not from their political party, but people who are making contributions at the state level, national level, and at the international level to drive the nation properly in their renewed hope agenda. Would you agree with him?
Esther, when you want to solve a problem, you don't begin by talking or holding conferences. A man who wants to solve a problem, you will know that by his actions and utterances. What the northern leaders are trying to do now is to solve the problem they created. Is that not so?
Yes.
Now, if Tinubu wants to solve that problem, would I agree? Because I want to refer you to what happened during Jonathan's era. Jonathan discovered that there are sentiments. There are sentiments that has become an impediment to fighting Boko Haram. And he now brought in a neutral person by name General Ijeoma, who has gone on retirement. And the man did a very nice job. He was ready to finish this insecurity issue under 2 months with the maximum order given to him by Jonathan. But immediately the man started action. What did the northern leaders do? They started writing memo to the United Nations, to US, to UK, that there is an ethnic cleansing agenda. That they want to repair what was done to them during the Biafra war. All sorts of nonsense started coming in. And with it, Jonathan had to bring out Ijeoma and return him again. That means, ab initio, northern leaders like what is going on there. They have not come together to solve that problem. They are using it as a blackmail to the rest of us. All the people that are causing this problem, 98% of them are from the north. They are their children. They know them, they see them. So you don't want the problem to be solved. And you don't want it to remain. So where are you? They are neither here nor there. If you other leaders want this problem to be solved, enter, I would have seen action in them. You saw what Buhari was doing with Fulani herdsmen when he was in office. Mention one single day that Buhari reprimanded the Fulani for what they were doing. Mention one single day that Buhari saw what the Fulani herdsmen did and condemned the action. You were here when Aeropine took our own money, taxpayers' money, and go and pay them somewhere in the Sahel to stop killing Nigerians. Even after paying that money, the rest of them came in. So who put the money and allow these people to come in? Esther, please tell me. $200 policy. We are going to say that anyone that has $200 is free to enter Nigeria. I said that I was in a TV section that day, and they asked me this question. I said, look, this is an indirect of security terrorism into this country. Because as at that time, the same year was $200, and I calculated, I said, come, what will the 200 from the good society? So here is the house.
Hello, Mr. Darlington. We seem to be having a situation with Mr. Darlington's connection. We will try to reestablish connection with Mr. Darlington. However, let's take a listen to Olisagbakoba, how he talked about the Supreme Court recently. A couple of people feel that he rubbished the Supreme Court, but let's take a little piece. Let's hear him a little bit.
It's in use. The National Assembly is the National Assembly sitting as the House of Assembly of the federal government, pursuant to Section 4.2 of the Constitution. But please check Section 4.1. The National Assembly is the National Assembly sitting as a sovereign parliament. Section 4.1. So the National Assembly is at once the House of Assembly of the federal government and the House of Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In fact, if you recall, when the National Assembly was groping to find powers to invoke the doctrine of necessity, Section 4.1 was the power to use. Now, Section 2.1 gives a very vital power in the Constitution. It describes Nigeria as indissoluble. Indissoluble. So the sovereign power of Nigeria is to be found in Section 2.1. And there's only one citizen that carries the sovereign authority of Nigeria. As far as I researched, there's only one citizen who is referred to as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that is President Tinubu. No other person. Every other person is either Federation, AGF, CJN, but no other person is referred to. And there's a purpose for that. So the President of Nigeria carries with him the authority of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Federation is not a political entity. It is merely a subdivision within the Sovereign Republic of Nigeria. So it's important that the National Assembly, in carrying out its legislative functions, will understand that it has a trinity of powers and replace it with the new constitution. And that is the matter resolved. Rather than every new assembly, we keep discussing the same issue. Because we can't make economic and political progress if we have a discussion that is lasting 23 years. So that is the point I would like to leave. Second point will be the electoral process. President Tinubu here had a petition, P2B versus President Tinubu. When I checked all the petitions, I actually found out that the petitions would have been best addressed to INEC. P2B has no quarrel with Mr. President. If you look at what he stated in his petition, it was like a referee refereeing a match and allowing a goal for Chelsea, and then Chelsea petitions against, say, Arsenal. Well, it's not Arsenal's, it's the referee. So we need to adopt the Kenyan model. The Kenyan model is very simple. A petitioner presents a petition which, if it raises reasonable cause, it convokes a tribunal. The tribunal turns to their own INEC, not to the respondent. Justify the election. Were the PVCs working? Was the BVACs working? Those are not issues that would concern Mr. President. Those are issues that would be addressed to the Election Management Board. In that way, you will find that the pressure will now turn to the Election Management Board to do their work properly. Because when there's a challenge, the petitioner and the respondent don't fight each other. It is the...
Let there be.
All right, and that was Olisa Bakoba speaking there. It was quite important for me to actually state what he said, because at the moment, Nigerians were surprised that he could be that expressive on talking about the constitution, talking about the current concluded elections, talking about the petitions that were written by the opposition political party, Atiku Abubakar, and that of Peter Obi as well, talking about the fact that the Supreme Court ought to have in that process mandated that INEC does the needful. There were a lot of infractions, and according to him, he said he looked at all the petitions that were written by the opposition political parties, and they were meant to address INEC. And according to him, also referring to Peter Obi's issue was with how INEC conducted the elections, specifically talking about the fact that the portal was, at the moment, people couldn't see results. It was frozen, and up till now, INEC did not give any plausible reason as to why that occurred. So, which of course created the room for the speculation that something underhand went on. And ever since, the legitimacy of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been questioned. This is basically what he was talking about. He made most of the statements in the presence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as well as in the presence of the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. It was quite a lot, where he berated the Supreme Court and its ruling recently, and the fact that INEC was not given a reprimand on how the elections were conducted, which was a very huge one. I would have loved us to listen to a whole lot of what he said, but while we try to consider other issues on the political spotlight this evening, it's quite important for us to consider that when it comes to the politics in Nigeria, every other critic believes that the president is very strategic when it comes to politics. They also understand that he knows the machinations of strategic placement and that 2027 is the ultimate goal. But the problem Nigerians are having is the fact that what he says is in contrast to what they are experiencing, to what they are seeing actually. Let's continue to listen to Olusa in his statement concerning what transpired, especially with the Supreme Court, with INEC, and the recent economic challenges Nigerians are currently going through.
With judicial administration, which the National Assembly can make laws. There should be a law governing the process of appointment of senior judges. We can't leave it to the National Judicial Council. All the Constitution says is, once you are 15 years, you are qualified. But the National Judicial Council and the Supreme Court judges have formed a mafia. And we don't get there. And the Supreme Court is this is, with the greatest respect, the worst Supreme Court I have seen in my 45 years of practice. It has to change. A challenge for the National Assembly is to enact a law that deals with judicial administration. I didn't say administration of justice, so you can't go there because that is the internal workings of the judiciary. But judicial administration, no, the National Assembly can make laws. You pass a law so that I do not depend on the Chief Justice of Nigeria if I wanted to become a judge. The law will be passed stating the criteria to become a judge. You will find a big change. So I make that very strong recommendation to the National Assembly. I now turn to a point which I think deserves special attention. We can't pretend that there's hunger in the land. There's a lot of hunger. But I commend President Tinubu for the bold decisions he took. Very few would have taken it. You are to be commended to remove In fact, I don't know whether you really thought about it because you said it in your acceptance speech. But that was the correct decision, sir. What needs to follow? What needs to... No, don't clap, please. I'm not interested in claps. What needs to follow is the tough job that the National Assembly must do. You must recognize as leaders of your people that they're suffering. So you must now support the president with consequential legislation. Consequential legislation that will give them peace. I have introduced in my office, I never knew I would do that, and it's working, and some of them are beginning to have potbelly. I've introduced breakfast and lunch. If you pay, for instance, your driver 100K, because you have done what people wanted. They say, Ashiwaju, great man. Great man. But if those things that people want haven't taken place, no way. So this point I will make now is important. The most important thing we need is economic governance. As I said, Mr. President has taken a number of tough decisions. Is indeed followed. Our banks are not traders. It is a shame that me standing before you, I have never had a loan in this country because they want my grandmother who is dead to come. In the UK, I've had loans because the system works. The Prudential Regulation Authority in the UK ensures that the banks work. In fact, some of us keep saying, how is it in spite of all this poverty, the banks are making tremendous profits? How is it? So where is the money going? We've got to ask, where is it going? Then the banks, if they misbehave, you have the Financial Conduct Authority to keep them in check. So the CBN needs to devolve two important powers, supervision and conduct. In the UK, it is retained within the structure of the Bank of England. But there is a huge institution that ensures that oxygen, money, is in the system. How can Nigeria be described as a country that wants to be in the first 10 when it is not a credit economy? No country.
All right, that's enough of Olisa Agbakoba right there. But he criticized and he said that the Supreme Court is the worst ever kind of Supreme Court that he has ever witnessed in the number of years that he has practiced law in this part of the world. And other legal practitioners also affirm with the description that he has said. Like I'm sure you listened to Mr. Darlington, make reference to what Olisa Agbakoba said while he was addressing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as well as Govt, the Senate President Nuhu Ribadu, the DSS head there, a couple of other strong political stalwarts, Femi Gbajabiamila, the President's Chief of Staff. They were all present in that gathering when Olisa Agbakoba gave all the reprimands on the Supreme Court, on INEC, on the legislature, and the National Assembly, and the President as well. And of course, we do know that we cannot, wrap off this particular segment before I open the phone lines without talking about the debacle, the conflict in Rivers State. Now, we do know that renewed warfare in Rivers State between Governor Similai Fubara and lawmakers, it reflects the desperation of politicians to control power, governance, and public resources. We do know that tensions blew open again on Monday when 27 legislators elected under the umbrella of the People's Democratic Party defected to the All Progressives Congress. Fubara's response was to demolish the State's House of Assembly complex in Port Harcourt for renovation. Now, these developments, if not contained soon, could precipitate anarchy in Rivers State and beyond. Now, who are the major gladiators? Are they elsewhere? The ferocious battle for the soul of Rivers is playing out in the state's legislature. You know that in October, lawmakers reportedly loyal to Nyesom Wike, the political godfather who had facilitated Fubara's emergence, they commenced impeachment proceedings against the governor and the majority leader, Edison Ehie. Before the move crystallized, however, a known thug set fire to the House of Assembly complex overnight. Now, during an inspection tour of the complex the following day, security agents fired tear gas at Fubara's entourage. There are now two factions in the assembly, one headed by Ehie, a Fubara Fubara acolyte, and Martin Amawule, leader of the defectors. Now, earlier, Fubara had won a reprieve after an intervention by PDP governors and elders who asked the gladiators to sheath their swords. On Monday, the truce collapsed after the 27 lawmakers defected. Unconvincingly, they cited a crisis in the PDP. Now, political watchers traced the upheaval to the resistance of Fubara to the alleged overarching influence of Wike, the governor between 2015 and 2023, and the incumbent minister of the Federal Capital Territory. Publicly, Wike has indicated his interest in retaining influence in the state. These are personal preoccupations that should have nothing to do with governance. However, in Nigeria, politicians conflate their personal ambitions with public office and are contemptuous of the law. By law and morality, the 27 lawmakers who quit the PDP should automatically lose their parliamentary seats, though two are said to have returned. Politicians have made democracy partial. Fubara presented the state's 800 billion 2024 budget for approval on Wednesday to only 5 out of the 32-member House of Assembly at plenary. Effectively, the defection has, at least temporarily, deprived residents of 27 state constituencies of representation. Now, in Uganda, a lawmaker who defects automatically loses his seat. In the United Kingdom and India, public opinion can force a lawmaker to resign after defection, but he can contest a by-election for the vacant seat. In many ways, Rivers is one important state in Nigeria. It's one of the major oil-rich, gas-rich Niger Delta states. It hosts the Nigerian headquarters of major international oil companies. It has, however, been plagued by militancy and insecurity since the turn of the century. Apart from the enormous power wielded by state governors, its share of 13% oil derivation are prices which various interests desperately seek to control. So the question is, in all of this malaise, development suffers, mass poverty is rampant, and democracy is stunted, conferring benefits only on the narrow class of political desperados. It is quite important for something to be done as regards the situation currently in Rivers State. Now, there was a disclosure on what the situation is between Fubara and Nyesom Wike. I want to play you a conversation on what transpired and how Nigerians have actually, there's a released audio which implicates the Wike in the Fubara.
Monies were being that is Wike that is directing how the monies were to be classified, and they told him, and so Wike became angry and said they're interfering with structure. There was no interference with any structure. Notice, no structure, no nothing at all. He wants to use the fact that Chamberlain Peterside, who was a commissioner under Amechi, was brought in to help, as the issue of structure. There was no any structure. Now, having to come to that respect, I want you to know that.
All right, so that was one of Fubara's men releasing an audio which implicated Wike on the recent debacle ongoing in Rivers State, and of course, literally saying that Nyesom Wike just wants to continue to have control over the doings and dealings within Rivers State, and Fubara is saying, even if I know that you facilitated in terms of helping me to clinch this particular seat as the governor of Rivers State, why don't you let me do my job? You're literally wanting to overwhelm me, control me, take over everything. Literally, while you're controlling Abuja, you also want to control Rivers State. So where does that lead me? What is the essence of me being the governor of the state? That's what Fubara is actually saying, and this is basically what is causing the current conflict within Rivers State. However, considering the fact that we do know that Rivers State is a pivotal state when it comes to the states that are really rich in oil, one of the Niger Delta states that really rich in oil, having this consistent Malay in a state like that is really not good, because it's one state that when it comes to poverty it's quite high there, when it comes to insecurity, militancy, it's quite high there, but the people this time around want to stay on the side of Fubara. I mean, if you've seen reports, if you've seen reaction ever since this entire situation started off, Rivers people seem to be in support of whatever Fubara is doing, his decisions so far being backed by the people. So it almost feels like Nyesom Wike is at the losing end with with what is currently playing, even if he feels he has some loyalists, in Rivers State. But the people, the masses, the streets are in support of Fubara, him having to take control of River State. These are some of the, would I say, peculiar issues that transpired during the week. Quite a lot of them are still developing, and reactions so far concerning the Supreme Court ruling on Friday. Nigerians are wanting to understand. Some Nigerians feel that it is good that Nnamdi Kanu is still in custody. They feel that he's a cause of the unrest and the unsettlement in the southeast. Some people feel that it is because of him the southeast is being underdeveloped. Investors ran away. Others too do not know the difference between IPOP, ESN, those who belong to Simon Ekpa and Nnamdi Kanu or whatnot. Others feel that what the government is doing to Nnamdi Kanu is highly unfair because he's asking for the sovereignty of the Igbo people. And others are saying, well, Nigeria is one. You can't say you want to take out a group of people just because of a certain interest. These and more are most of the issues that surrounds Nnamdi Kanu, surrounding River State also. And of course the president, he is in the center of most of what is going on. Critics believe that the president could actually do something as soon as possible, but then others feel that maybe because a majority of the Southeasterners did not support the president, and this is his way of revenge and of saying, okay, you didn't support me, I owe you nothing. You didn't do anything for me, so I owe you nothing. So let me do what I need to do and let the law take its course in the case of Nnamdi Kanu. And I think that's what's happening. The law is taking its course. The Supreme Court gave its ruling, and apparently Nnamdi Kanu has to start all over again. He has to go back to the Federal High Court. I don't know how a couple of us feel about this, but this basically are the issues on the political spotlight. And I want you to send your WhatsApp messages to 0700 903 903 0700 903 9039, and the number to also call is 0700 903 903 903 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. The WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. Name and location, please.
Yes, my name is Mr. Oscar. I'm calling you from Badagi.
All right, Mr. Oscar, go ahead.
Yes, I really want to speak about the humanitarian aid. The president truly has the interest.
Okay.
I can see yes, the humanitarian aid. I can see it because the other time I spoke on the radio station, I disagreed. I said that it's going to be a policy of scam. But I can see that he really has interest on that humanitarian aid. If it's not up to 50 million, that 25% should also alleviate and ameliorate some people and a group of youth, especially from the year of 24 counting to the third year. We should be able to cover up to, even though it's not up to 50 million, I can see you have interest. And with the student loan, the student loan should not be taken to grants. There are some other activists who are trying to say you should change student loan to grant. No, you should remain student loan. It will make students serious. And the government will also gain from it. Then, the concerning Nnamdi Kanu, the Igbos, they should go on their knee and pray to God to have the president have a change of heart. The president of that is what I see.
You said they should go on their knees. Why do you say the Igbos? You are a Nigerian, and the Igbos are Nigerians too. You can also go on your knee and pray. Hello. 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 All right, thank you. At some point, I couldn't hear what he was saying, but he's saying that the Igbo should go on their knees and pray that God should intercede in the case of Nnamdi Kanu. All right, 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. Hello. Turn down the audio of your radio. When you call, turn down the audio of your radio, please. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. What's your name and location, please?
My name is Amadi.
All right, Amadi.
All these issues we are discussing show you that the judiciary in Nigeria is clear. Seriously, it's just things will happen.
Hello, Amadi. Hello? Connection is very poor. Hello? Amadi, please try and call back. The connection is very poor. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. The WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. Hello, evening, and welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Good evening, my sister. How are you?
I am fine. Kindly turn down the audio of your radio, please. I can hear a feedback. Hello? Okay, we lost that connection. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. Hello, welcome to the Political Spotlight. Name and location, please.
Good evening. Good evening, Madam Esther.
Good evening. How are you?
Fine. It's in the matter from me.
All right, Nemeka, please go ahead.
Yeah. My greetings to our gathering team. Compliment of the season.
All right, so you
compliment of the season to everybody.
All right, thank you.
My dear, in terms of, let me start with the Nnamdi Kanu issue. And somebody said Igbo should kneel down and pray to God for him to have a freedom. When Sunday Rugori or waiting being named released, I did not see anybody kneel down and pray. This kind of life of when we reach for some tribe, it becomes pray. But when you reach for the other tribe, it becomes let's do it as we like. Let's be honest to each other. If we say we are running a nation, let's see ourselves as Nigerians. But if we are seeing ourselves to be different tribe or different religion, there we will kill ourselves. There we will become a separate nation. Let that be in everybody's heart. If you know that, if you teach yourself as he paid you, so that's how if you teach someone else to pay them. You want a one nation, but if you reach on your side, you need a one nation. But if you reach on the other side, whatever it will be. Let me tell everybody, Igbos are not going to get any problem with anybody anymore. Whoever is looking for problem where Igbo man they wasting time. Because we are looking at progress and prosperity. We are not looking at backwards. Let that be in everybody's mind. Not the light, not the hold them. More they hold in there, more they show how disrespect they are. They call themselves lawmakers. Why they don't respect the law? They sit at the law, spit on the law, and expecting others to respect the law. When the law gets out of the hand, the lawmakers will pay for it. May God bless you, my dear.
All right, thank you, Nemeka, for calling. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. And the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. You can actually see the number on the screen if you're watching us on YouTube at the moment. We're currently streaming live on YouTube, so you can actually be part of the conversation. So if you sent messages on YouTube, I don't think I can read some of these your messages, though, because the way you guys are talking here, it's not good to read this out publicly. Hello, welcome to the Political Spotlight. Please
Hello.
turn down the audio of your radio, please, completely.
I'm going to turn it down.
Yes. What's your name,
Hope
please?
we're okay now.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Hyacinth from Ejibo.
Hi, Sink. How is Ejibo this evening?
We are fine. Everywhere is okay.
All right, go ahead,
Thank God
please.
for the Hamatan that just crept in.
Would you call this one Hamatan? I'm not calling it Hamatan, Jare. Go ahead.
See, Precious.
It's Esther, not Precious.
Esther, please. Esther, please. The young man, Mr. Darlington, is he around?
No, it was a telephone interview. I interviewed him via the telephone, yes.
God will really bless that man. He's a truly an Igbo blood. Let me tell you, Esther, who is holding Nnamdi Kanu? The court has released him. DSS hold him. Who is DSS? Who is the federal government? The case of Nnamdi Kanu is no longer with the court. It's in the hand of the president to give an order that they should let him go. But if he doesn't want to give order for him to go, no problem. Somebody says the Igbo should go and begin to pray. Pray for what? What are we praying for?
Did you vote for Did you vote for President Tinubu?
You say?
Did you vote for him?
Did I vote for him? I am a Labour Party member.
You did not vote
It's
for
not
the
because
president now. So
No.
is the president compelled to do anything? You didn't vote for him.
Must everybody vote for him? Everybody must not vote for him. Some people will vote for him, so will not vote for him. So he's the president of the General Republic of Nigeria. It's not a must that all Nigerians must vote for him. It has never been done. We're not in one party system.
But you know
We
that
have
it's a quid
different
pro
parties.
quo. You do me good, I do you good. For example, years and week here, he betrayed his political party and he got a ministerial appointment. So that's how it is in this kind of political dispensation. You do me good, I do you good.
So are you not trying to you want to teach me that I should betray my integrity?
I'm not teaching you. I'm just
I
telling you
betray
that
my
that is how it looks like, because that is what a lot of people are saying. Possibly because
No.
the Southeasterners did not vote for the president, and that's why he's not compelled to do anything more.
Then he ceased to be a president of Nigeria. Then he become a president on part of the country and not part of the country. Because even in the South, some people still voted for APC, though they are minority. Not everybody. You still have supporters in the Southeast. People like Nanduba and others, they are APC. They have a little vote they got for him. So everyone will not vote one party system. We're not in one party system, and that's what they're trying to turn Nigeria into. Okay, now look at the case of Ijeoma Egwuatu now. He has finished his tenure. He went to Abuja. He betrayed the people of his party. Now he has two-faced mouth. He has two faces. One in PDP, one in APC. Now he has one to APC now. Now he's fighting PDP that brought him to power, that made him what he is today. Okay, leave the power. No, he's in Abuja. He wants to control River State. If you listen to what you read, somebody read here that the 10 billion used to come out every month, but they only limit 6 billion. Where is the 4 billion naira going? The gate of God for that reason is gone. You can only do that in Lagos. You can't do it in another part of the country. For God's sake, let people tell the truth and let the truth. That's the problem we have in this country, that we'll see the truth, we'll see the right thing to do. We will not do it. People are after what they will get now and eat now, forgetting that tomorrow is coming. Let people get integrity. Let people be known for what they are, not because of their mouth or their stomach. No, that's the problem we have now. The truth, they will not follow it. They turn it the other way around. If we don't change from that, I'm sorry, Nigeria is not going anywhere. Honestly speaking.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. And the WhatsApp number to call is 0700 903 9. Hello. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Good evening.
How
good
are
evening,
you?
Voice of the People.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm great.
What's
And
your
you
name,
guys?
please? And we're fine. We're good. What's your name and location?
Yeah,
please?
I'm Freeman calling from Europe.
Wow, you're really indeed free, Freeman. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You know one thing, I agree. I salute this last call. He made a point. Yeah, his point is clear. You know, let me tell you something, sister. Like over here, where we here that we are, you know, you can join any political party that you want, and during the campaign, you can campaign to any party you want.
Okay.
If your party lost, fine. Let the party that win lead on. And the whole party will come and join the president to do the good for the country. Not just what you're saying here. Did you just hear what you said? That if you do me good, I do you good. This is the only problem we Africans have. We don't, especially you people, you journalists, you guys don't know your work.
How?
You don't know what you're doing.
Wait, how?
You
How?
are afraid. You are afraid to say the truth.
What is the truth? It's not my place to make any judgment. It's my place to moderate.
I
And
know.
I'm telling you something that critics believe. Critics just like you believe that the reason why the president has not pushed on for the release of Nnamdi Kanu is because the support from the Southeast did not come. And you do know how
You
this
don't have to
dispensation have been.
listen. That is why I'm saying, but that is not the reason why. You as a journalist, do you know where you are? You are on air. Just look at where I am listening to you over there in the
I don't get
in
what,
Nigeria.
what I don't get what you're saying. What is your point? Because just like you, every other person has made a point.
My
and I'm
point
reading
is
out the point of what other people said. It is not my words. They are not my words. I'm just telling you this is what it is.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, my point is this, sister. Let me tell you, you don't have to use this statement that the Eastern did not vote.
It is not my statement.
No, you
hello 0700 903 903 903. Let's take all the calls. Hello, welcome to the political spotlight. Hello.
I'm listening, sister.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, I'm listening. I'm sorry, the way I sounded, but that's not the way. The way you guys.
Hello. Okay. I'm getting more calls. Hello. I can't hear you. Please try to. Hello. All right, 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call, and the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. You can actually send in your WhatsApp messages in there. 0700 903 9039. Hello.
Good evening, Esther.
Evening. How are you, please? Name and location.
Okay, my name is Gordon. I'm calling from Ijeoma.
All right, Godwin, please go ahead.
Yeah. Esther, the way you use this word is, didn't say it's wrong. Why I say that is that it has to be promised. You know where, or it has to be precious. You know how to do this word, because some people always come out with anger to use a word. If people say that they set me using the word because they are life prejudice. I cannot use that word.
What? Okay.
It's not everybody.
Okay.
It's not everybody. It's not every tribal that voted Tinubu.
Exactly.
Because Yoruba said most of them voted Labour Party and most of them voted PDP. So all this I say is because of we do not vote for him, because of the statistics that do not vote for Tinubu. That's why you couldn't.
It is not my. Those are not my words, sir. Those are not my words at all.
That's where the word is going.
Those are not my words. That's why I'm asking, because other critics believe that is basically what the reason is.
You know what the other man, he said, did you vote for him?
I asked him, did you vote for him? Because he was complaining. He was saying that he believes that the president should have released. And I asked him, did you vote for him? Because obviously he voted for Labour Party. And other critics believe that is one of the reasons why Nnamdi Kanu has not been released, because they've been pleadings and begging.
Yes, there are other people that believe that. But you know that this is dividing the country also. The word they use is dividing it. Because if I could say, I would say that even the other side, not allowed to for.
Yeah. Hello. All right, Zara. I will implore you to call back. I want you to call back. Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Yes. Welcome to the political spotlight. Name and location, please.
My name is Chukwudi from Ijeoma.
All right, Chukwudi, please go ahead.
My sister, let me say something like this thing what happened for Nigeria. Let's say the truth. No people where they spoil this country except let's assume me not bet when I drop this word.
Hello. Okay, I'll try to read some messages here. We seem to be having a connection situation. The calls come in and then they drop. All right, so good evening, ma'am. I am Christian from Ilasa Maja. To me personally, I'm fed up with this present talkative government. He talks too much more than taking actions. With due respect, sir, please allow the poor Nigerians to breathe. This hardship is too much. Okay. Good evening. It's payback time for Wiki. You didn't let me know your name. Madam Esther and the erudite barrister Darlington, good evening all. On the case of Nnamdi Kanu, Tinubu had forgotten that he shouldn't also continue with Buhari's hatred with the Igbos. We the Igbos are watching Chief Emmanuel Nwanyanwu and his team. We are just waiting. Okay, UC from Ijegu. Good evening, madam. The way they are treating Nnamdi Kanu is not justified. Let those handling this case know that a madman has a home where he comes from. Well, I think the president wants justice to take its course. All right. 0700 903 903 903. Hello. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. Name and location, please.
Good evening.
Yes. What's your name, please?
My name is Mr. Victor, calling you from Otta.
All right, Mr. Victor, well done. Please go ahead.
Okay. My contribution to what you are discussing on the radio is concerning Nnamdi Kanu. The only solution for his release is going to be political solution.
Okay.
The elders from the East should discuss with Tinubu, the president. When they discuss with president, they will call him to the round table to come and sign a condition that if they release him, some people will stand for him as a guarantor, that he will not return back to that sin of calling for cessation of the East.
Okay.
If he can do that, president will release him. But if Nnamdi Kanu does not want to sign any agreement, that he will not go back to what he was doing against the country, there is no way Tinubu can just rise up one day and say they should release him.
So meaning that at this point, the president is allowing the law to take its course.
Tinubu himself, President Tinubu himself must be very careful to release him.
Okay.
In the sense that you don't know.
Okay.
And go ahead to return.
Okay. All right. Hello. Hello. Okay, we're having a serious network situation.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. What did you say?
Okay. I say if President Tinubu does not careful for his release, if he just releases him anyhow, the man may still go back to that calling for cessation of the eastern part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And for that reason, the whole country will still come back and blame Tinubu.
Okay.
Because where he is now is all about security situation of the East.
All right.
So president must be very careful to release him.
Okay.
That is it about Nnamdi Kanu. So the Eastern elder should go and hold meeting with Tinubu for political solution. So by that political solution, they will release Nnamdi Kanu to the hand of the Eastern elders.
Yes.
So the Eastern elders will not be able to run around him to talk to him how he can conduct his life properly in line with the Constitution of Nigeria. Then concerning the River State issue, I will blame the present governor Fubara. Why I will blame him is that when you can allow outgoing governor to pay for your nomination money to PDP, I mean to similarly bring you to be a governor under PDP, you should know that the man already is your godfather. And from history in Nigeria, whoever that become a governor through godfather must surely answer to the call of the godfather. That is how it should be. Assuming he allow himself to buy the nomination form for the governorship race under PDP and he go for primary election. If he wins through the primary election, fine. If he doesn't win, fine. But for him to have subjected himself under the influence and control of the outgoing governor, to support him in all areas, to kick out his contestant under the PDP, then when he now reach that position, he shouldn't expect Mr. Wike to remove his hand from that government. That's how it will be. And for solution now, you should not have went ahead to demolish that National Assembly building, State Assembly building. Is very wrong. He's supposed to meet with one-on-one. When they discuss, if he asks for apology, there is a way they will solve the problem. That one also requires political solution. Then from there, we can solve the problem. If Wike is talking about structure that Governor Fubara is destroying his structure in River State, he knows what he's saying. No any political elders in this country does not want to be relevant in their state where they are coming out from, especially past governors. They want to be relevant. So that is what I can say about it. The River State issue cannot be solved through political means. It cannot be solved through court order. If they want to use court order to solve the problem between Wike and Governor Fubara, it's going to escalate to big problem in River State because each of people are already waiting for court order tomorrow Monday. If it does not favor Fubara, then we will see a very great protest and insecurity in that state. So the best way to solve Wike and Fubara's problem is political roundtable discussion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was quite a lengthy one. Thank you. That was very diplomatic and objective. Although the president had been met by a couple of southeastern members, especially elders and elites, have actually gone to meet with the president to speak with him, concerning Nnamdi Kanu's case. I recall, like I said earlier, when the program commenced, that Peter Mba, the governor of Enugu State, Chukwuma Charles Soludo as well, also some Ohaneze Indibo elders, tried to meet with the president to speak on how Nnamdi Kanu can be released. Some of them even presented themselves whereby they will be in charge of him, these conditions, while he continues to appear in court to go through his trial and his processes. I think this basically has already commenced or had actually happened, but maybe the president, like you said, is being careful and wants the law to take its course. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Yeah, my name is Monday. I'm calling from Sule.
All right, please go ahead, Monday.
To be frank, well, today you are very pro-government.
I'm very what?
Very well. You're pro-government.
How am I pro-government? I'm just stating the facts. These are the facts.
Let me say that.
Okay.
The issue of Nnamdi Kanu. The court has given order. What was the order of the Court of Appeal? Nigeria is a signatory of international law. Yes or no?
Yes.
So if the court had given order the way this man was brought back to Nigeria, why is it that the government failed to obey it? The government of Nigeria failed to obey it. Let me say this again. The only thing that will stop agitation in the Southeast is when there is fairness and justice and equity. Without that, there is so many thousands of Nnamdi Kanus in the Southeast. I bet you the only thing that will stop it is fairness, justice, and equity. Nothing more, nothing short of it. The Igbos since themselves have been marginalized, which is true. And every government that comes in continues in that direction. The last government is even the worst of it and show it so clearly. This one is following the same direction. And we are watching. We are not fools. We are not morons. We are not novices. We know what is going on. What I can tell you authoritatively is the agitation of separation of Nigeria will continue until there is justice and fairness. That is the fact. And for someone to say also the issue of River State, if you are a godfather, can't you allow your godson to do what is right? Why do you want to cage him? Is it the way of, is it politics? It's totally nonsense. Well, we support this kind of politics in Nigeria. That is why corruption is everywhere. That is why looting is everywhere. No significant improvement in the lives of Nigerian citizens of the country. Because we have sacrifice everywhere. We have tribalism, the religion, and the ethnicity have destroyed this country to the foundation as it is at this moment. Why can't you stand for the thing that is right? I don't know who is Obara, but what I'm talking about, when someone is being elected as governor of the state, who is he? Is he not the one in charge of the state? Why would someone else begin to give you order what to do and what not to do? Is it the kind of politics we want to continue in Nigeria? What we're seeing in Lagos State? Have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. 0700 903 903 903. Please, this person said, Esther, you're disrespectful to me. I have respected you enough. You always pick my call, and I continue. Please, it's not me. It's the network. It's funny this evening. I sincerely apologize. Please try calling. I'm serious. Or if the calls are not going through, please send your messages. I sincerely apologize. It's not me. Inoma, please call. Sometimes when you call, I won't hear anything. So it tells you that it's the network. It's literally not me. I sincerely do apologize, please. All right. All right. Hello. 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 See, I can't hear. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Can you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, finally. All right, good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening from Germany, Richard again.
Richard, how are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you. Right. Thank you, my sister. You're doing a great job. I know it's not easy.
Thank you.
You cannot satisfy everybody,
Yes,
and some of your listeners are also, I understand what is going on over there. Yes. A lot of people are very frustrated, and government is not doing the needful. That is the problem. Because I don't see the reason why Nnamdi Kanu should remain in the DSS dungeon up to today, even though the Court of Appeal had discharged and acquitted him. And as I said yesterday was on Friday was a very devastating day for Igbos in Nigeria, Igbos in diaspora, all over because nobody's happy what is going on with that young man called Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
Even though some of us we disagree the method he did his own agitation, but what he's campaigning for is what everybody's. Every Igbo man should be proud of, because after the civil war, there is nothing like presence of Nigerian federal government in Igbo land. No presence, nothing. And it's not. I'm not boasting, but if you come to Germany, if you go to everywhere in here in Europe or in America, Igbos are maybe almost 40% of Nigerians outside Nigeria. But no Igbo man can fly. I cannot fly from Frankfurt to any Igbo state. I cannot. Either I fly to Lagos or to Abuja. That is a very horrible thing. And Igbos, 40% or 50% of Nigerians living in diaspora are Igbos. There is no single, international airport in Igbo land. There is no even the seaport, even no national rail that goes from Lagos to Igbo land, or from Kanu or from Abuja to Igbo land. And Igbos contribute a lot to the unity of Nigeria, to the economy of Nigeria. But there's nothing like federal presence in Igbo land. Anything you see in Igbo land is done by the Igbos themselves. Mbakwe Airport in Owerri was built by Imo State, Imo people or Igbo people. I contributed when I was in primary school. My parents contributed. Everybody contributed. Even then, the Sheikh Shagari refused that airport to be built. If not because Mbakwe was a soldier, was a pure Igbo man that said, "Look, I want this. Our people need this thing." Nothing. There's no presence. There's no federal presence in Igbo land. Nothing. Look at the roads going to Igbo states. Federal roads. Everything is depleted. Some people are telling you go back to your land and develop your land. Okay, we want to go to our land, but then let us see if Igbos want to live or not. Let's do at least a referendum. That's what this young man was asking for.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, my sister. Justice without justice, there will not be. There shall never be. Peace. We pray that Nigeria will remain one, but let there be equity. Let there be justice.
Okay.
Thank you. And Nigeria must raise that man.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you for calling. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. Let me read out some WhatsApp messages. I am Shomala from Oshodi. All right. Okay, I'm Mrs. Shomala from Oshodi. I would like to. Okay. No, it doesn't belong to. I think I've answered your question. It doesn't belong to. Some Igbo leaders are selfish. Every one of them is pursuing money without the collective interest of their own people. This is from Harry Ogada. Okay, Harry. Okay, so we also have this message where, good evening, Esther. Tinubu says he won't do anything concerning Nnamdi Kanu case because Igbos did not vote for him. Let's see how Nigeria will move forward. He'll be tired holding Nnamdi Kanu. All right. Hello. Evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Good evening, Esther.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, my name is Isaac from Ikorodu.
All right, Isaac, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, Esther, I can see people arguing with you, and I think you asked me a question at that time, and I think you are very, very correct. You see, in politics, when our leaders feel that when they are not being supported from a particular angle of a particular place, they don't deserve. Those places don't deserve to get the dividend of their ruling, which is a very, very, very bad mentality. I'm going to give you an instance. In 1999, Obasanjo was a Yoruba man. He never got support from the southwest. You know, if we now look as a result of that, go deep into the cabinet of Obasanjo, then Obasanjo has so many Easterners and Northerners in his cabinet. Then, you know, that time, after being a man from the southwest, there was a little bit of setback in the southwest. Because of this, people in the southwest had to rally around. That was why he was able to win the southwest of the southwest in 2003, except in Lagos. And at that was then everything was now balanced. We were able to get some things. You see, again, this is a very, very bad mentality from our leaders.
It is, actually. It is.
It's terrible.
It is.
It's terrible. It's very, very bad. But this is politics. Me and you, this is Nigeria. We have to understand how it plays. And since you understand such a thing, our leaders who we elect, they have to come together and think.
True.
And what next to do?
I recall when El-Rufai made a statement concerning this when he was addressing his people, when he was talking about developing some local governments. He made reference to something like this.
Thank you very much, Esther. You see, there was a particular time in this nation, around 2011 and 2015, whereby a Southwesterner was not holding any position from the 1st to the 8th in this country. And what the Southwesterners had to do then, they had to call them together and form a voice and do and collaborate, form alliances with people from the North. And that was why they were able to get the vice president in 2015. Saying, it's not about saying we deserve this, we deserve this. I know many people are going to call and going to say, oh, that man is saying rubbish. Say, it's not about saying we deserve this. Say, violence does not, we will get the right thing, we don't have to go the hard way. Like, I want to correct something today. The case of Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho are almost the same, but not. If Sunday Igboho had returned to Nigeria, I'm very, very sure he will also face the same thing Nnamdi Kanu is facing. When Sunday Igboho was caught in the Benin Republic, when he was released in the Benin Republic, he left immediately for Germany. He didn't come to Nigeria.
True.
If he came to Nigeria, I'm sure he would have faced the same thing Nnamdi Kanu is facing. Now, that's apart. See, I'm going to appeal to our brothers from the Southeast. See, it breaks my heart when I discover that someone from the Southeast has not ruled this state since 1999. I'm a Yoruba man. But this thing pains me. I've been in the Southeast, and they are wonderful people. It breaks my heart. But something we have to be sincere with ourselves. Okay, let me ask a question. Somebody was quite on and said, okay, there's no port in the Southeast. There's no difficulty. But at a point in time in this nation, we had Southeasterners in the Obasanjo regime. 8 years, we had Southeasterners as Senate presidents.
Yes.
It was
back to back,
down and down. back to back. What were those leaders doing? At a point in time, 6 years, we had Jonathan from the south with this nation. Why was not in the south? These are the questions, reasonable questions that we start asking. Who are the leaders we have in our regions? What have they done? What have they done to benefit us? So, say all these people, you're an evil man, you're about this, outside, it should not be. We should come back to the drawing board. Come together. What do we do? Let me ask you something. Do you think to get power has to be planned? Tinubu has to make has to come to meet Buhari. They have to come together and come to an agreement. Buhari got the power and they agreed. It will come back to me. They have to find the right way to start it. They get the power from the PDP. See, this is not about force. I appeal to opinion on this topic. Let them come together. They are leaders. They should have, because all their leaders are responsible to come together and collaborate. No single region can get something. Thank you and God bless. Have a nice day.
Thank you. That was quite a lengthy one. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. Hello. Oh, we lost that call. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. The WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Good evening. What's your name, please, and location?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you clearly now.
Hello.
Name and location. I can hear you.
Hello, good evening.
Evening. I can hear you. What is your name?
My name is Chinedu. I'm calling from Uganda.
All right, Chinedu, please go ahead.
It's a privilege speaking with you.
Thank you.
I've been trying this line since you started this program, and it's difficult getting your station, truly.
I'm so sorry. It's the network, and a lot of people too are calling.
I'm a first-time caller anyway.
Oh, welcome. Thank you for calling VOP 90.3 FM.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I just want to make one statement.
Okay.
Regarding the Kanu issue.
Okay.
Many people have been giving their different opinions. But I discovered that what the problem we're having in Nigeria is people are selfish and self-centered.
Okay.
If it's benefiting this part of the nation, they tend to like it and they don't care what happened to the other people. It's unfortunate. But what I want to tell them is, Igbo people seem to be down. They look like people that are conquered, but we are not conquered. All I want to say is that what Nnamdi Kanu is doing, they look foolish. Because so many people want him to stop the agitation. But he will not stop. Because as long as there is no justice, there will be agitation. The only thing that stops agitation is justice. But as long as Igbo people are being marginalized, they were killed because they voted in an election, their properties were destroyed, and people want them to keep quiet. I want to say one thing. That Biafra that they are scared of will come the day they don't respect it. It will surely come.
All right. I want to say something, and it's important that I say this, please. Nigeria is one nation. All right. We must not preach division. We must not preach cessation. We must not preach isolation. It is an all-inclusive government. It is my job to ensure that we advocate for unity and oneness. So please, Nigeria will not be divided. Nigeria will remain one. I can hear you.
Okay, what you said, I am with what you said. It's true. Okay. But the only thing that stops any form of agitation is when there is justice. As long as there is no justice, there will be agitation. That's what I can tell you. Thank you very much.
All right. I'll take one more call, just one more call, so we can wrap off this segment of the program. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Okay, please, I'm calling. My name is Ben. I'm calling from K2.
All right, Ben.
Yes, my name is Ben. Okay. Really, you said that.
Ben,
the person who
can you reduce the volume of your radio? Is it possible for you to turn it off completely?
No, I'm far to the radio now. To the radio now.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So what I want to say, you say that Nigeria is one nation. So that's what you will say. Yes, Nigeria is one. But do you see Nigeria to be one, the way you are seeing things? Do you see Nigeria to be one? Yeah, with all this wickedness that is going on, okay, now let me come. Forget about election or whatever. The Nigeria, Igbos are businessmen. In the whole southeast, no seaports, no international airports, and they deny us all these things. The Igbos will be foolish people to be working inside their pockets after they have used whatever oil or all the resources are coming from east, and at the same time the businessmen will come here. They will continue to frustrate them, destroy and do whatever they like. Why the businessmen, they pay tax, they do everything.
Ben, let me ask you. Ben, let me ask you. Let me ask you something. Wait. Let me.
Okay.
Ben, there are leaders in the Southeast, governors in the Southeast, senators representing the Southeast, and the question is, what are they doing? No, let's objectively speak. What are the governors, what are the leaders in the Southeast, those who represent several constituencies in the Southeast, the governors in the Southeast, what are they doing? You saw the governor of Abia State. You know the former governor of Abia State before Alex Oti. Do you see how a people were happy that man did not come back? How a people were happy for Alex Oti? Abia State was impoverished, no development, nothing. That person who was the governor is an indigene of that state. He's an Igbo man. So if we want to put things in perspective, the question is it not how you present yourself that you be addressed? I'm just asking.
You are making a point, but what I want to say is, majority always carry the votes.
Okay. You
understand? Majority always carry the votes. If you go to the house, whenever they bring, whenever they present any matter or to debate anything that will favor the Easterners, majority will stop it. You understand? The majority will say no to that, and the minority cannot do anything. They can't do anything. You understand? So this is what the young man called Nnamdi Kanu is agitating. So agitating for the Easterners because we are being highly cheated all around. You know what I'm saying. The truth is there. And this thing cannot stop until we get what we want. It will never stop. And these people called Nigeria, they reject Messiah and they are looking for something good. Yeah, with nothing good come in Nigeria because they.
All right. Thank you for calling. Thank you so much. Thank you. I sincerely do appreciate it. Thank you so much for your calls. We need to wrap up the program. Goodness from Agor sent a message. Goodness is saying, "Good evening, Esther. You said we should preach one. The attitude of the leader is already telling us that we are not one." Goodness from Agor. All right, Goodness and a couple of you who sent messages. I think I read most of the messages on WhatsApp on the program today. So I want to say thank you to all of you who actually called. Some of the messages on YouTube, they are derogatory. I'm sorry, I cannot read some of these messages. But somebody says there is bound to be repercussion beyond the borders of Nigeria if anything happens to Nnamdi Kanu. All right, nothing will happen to Nnamdi Kanu. From what his legal counsel said, he's safe and he's in custody at the moment. As this Amarachi Uche says, I repeat, nobody. Okay, the restoration of sovereign independence. Okay, all right. we don't need to produce Nigeria president of Igbo extraction, but rather we are calling for referendum. Quest for the restoration of all right. Okay, we've come to a round off on today's segment of the Political Spotlight. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. I sincerely do appreciate most of you who called and sent your messages, and I must say that we'll continue to put out these issues on the table so we can continue to have collaborative conversation on the issues that has to do with the polity. However, do have yourself a wonderful Sunday evening, and bye for now.